I'm Ryan Wolf again, and I'm here with Shawn Carroll to talk about blue-white Thopter control. So
Hey.
let's go ahead and take a look at the deck list and go over a brief overview. So anything spicy that we're going to look at here is going to be maybe the muddle of the mixtures. We'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the Sword of the Meek, the Thopter Foundries. We're also probably going to talk about the Ensnaring Bridges, and then these big, sweet Planeswalkers of Tezzeret the Seeker and Elspeth Sun's Champion, one of my favorite cards. And then some Academy Ruins, talk about why, how important that is. And then the transformational sideboard that he has of Gifts Ungiven that gives him Burial Rites, Elish Norn, and Iona. So let's go ahead and get straight to the deck and talk about a little bit more about what your deck is trying to do.
Well, the primary goal of the deck is to get the combination of Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek. And that is basically a combination of cards that many decks in the format just cannot handle if you have enough mana to go with it. The combo is basically Thopter Foundry lets you sack the sword, make a 1/1 token. The sword then triggers, bringing it back into play, equipped onto the 1/1. And so anytime at that point you just need 1 mana and you can sack it, get a Thopter, gain a life, and repeat ad nauseum.
Sounds pretty simple.
Yeah.
Uh, Thopter Foundry's pretty strong card, sort of make recently unbanned by Wizards of the Coast. Some say maybe a mistake. Uh, I like the card. I know you like the card. You obviously built the deck with it.
I do love the card. I've been playing the card for years.
uh, Anything other than just those two things that you think that you really want to see in your opening hand when you
um,
first start you get an opening hand, random opponent. What else do you want to see besides the combo?
okay. Best hand is going to be the combo turn 2, turn 3. If I don't have that, I really want some early interaction, like Path to Exile, Journey to Nowhere, Serum Visions, anything that I can interact with early. Because, like, basically, after the combo, I want this to be just like a blue-white control deck. I need to be able to keep them controlled, keep them locked down, and Path, Serum Visions, Journey, Detention Sphere, Supreme Verdict, anything that can keep control of the board, keep
Right.
keep myself alive until I can get the combo in place.
All right. So the next card that we're going to talk about is Muddle the Mixture. Uh, Kind of an interesting card. Also, your only counter spell in the entire deck. I mean, it's a blue-white control deck with only
Yeah.
one counter, and it's kind of a picky card. Why did you choose this card, and why do you think it's so important to the deck?
This card is probably the key card to the entire deck. It gives me like game one. It has the only interaction I have for like any of the combo decks. Like if I need to counter something, that's like the only counter spell I have.
Right.
But the it also functions as a tutor. Like I can transmute for either piece of my combo. I can transmute for Journey to Nowhere, which is one of the recent interactions I added to the deck, which is hugely important to be able to like spot removal a creature, which could be
For
a
the
big
viewers at
problem.
home that probably don't know what transmute is, give a little bit of a background of what transmute actually does. I mean, we can read the card, but
Yeah, basically transmute lets you discard the card, pay the mana for the transmute cost, and you can go search your deck for any card that costs the same as the converted mana cost of the card you discarded.
awesome.
So for that one, lets me go get two, which is the same as Thopter Foundry or Sword of the Meek, also Journey to Nowhere. So those are the main targets
That you
game
want to
one.
see.
Hmm.
The next up looks like we got Tezzeret the Seeker. Uh, Pretty sweet Planeswalker. Didn't really see a whole lot of modern play until this kind of came about. Sees a little bit of play in even just the blue-black Tezzerator deck that
Hmm.
pops up every now and again in modern. Why did you choose, or excuse me, in Legacy? So what made you choose Tezzeret the Seeker and not choose to go the blue-black route with Agent of Bolus?
Well, the difference is, well, Agent of Bolus is objectively a stronger card than Seeker. The
Right.
problem is, white as a color is much stronger in Modern than black is.
Right.
So I had to go blue-white, or I want to go blue-white. It's just objectively more powerful. His value is the ability to just tutor up any artifact out of my deck.
Right.
So being able to go get like the combo, it's another way to go get the combo, like another tutor for the combo, which is huge. So I have a lot more redundancy just finding those cards. But I can also go get, I think, Pithing Needle main board,
Right.
which is huge, being able to turn off like Inkmoth Nexus, turn off like Deathrite Shaman, anything that can turn off with Pithing Needle is huge.
Exactly.
And then there's more, I have more like Silver Bullet artifacts out of the sideboard than go tutor up. But
Okay.
yeah, it's basically there to be a tutor spell,
Uh,
mostly.
Next up is, like I said earlier, probably one of my favorite cards, even in Modern All-Star when it was in Standard, Elspeth Suns Champion.
Yeah,
What?
this is something I just added to the deck
All
that I
right.
want to try out.
So
Um,
you have pretty much no testing with her.
not much. Oh, I had a couple games I tested with it, and it basically won the game when it came down.
I mean,
Uh,
it's really hard to deal with her. So,
it can lock any creature, like any creature matchup. It just locks up the board.
right,
If I'm
Termagoyf, she doesn't care about Termagoyf.
if I'm dealing with like Jund especially, anything that runs like Tarmogoyf, Siege Rhino, uh, te- not Tezzeret, Tassiger, any of the big creatures, I can come down, sweep the board, catch myself back up. Otherwise, I can come down, just start making 1/1 soldier tokens, lock
Right,
up the board
exactly,
again. And it's good if they have a way to turn off my primary combo. If they can interact with my graveyard game one,
exactly.
I can turn to Elspeth to actually win the game for me instead of just being like locked out
Right,
again.
like the occasional prison deck that may show up that may be
Yes.
able to just play some main board hate, or
Yeah.
even just the hate bears deck. A little bit harder for you to get around, but with Elspeth, you
hmm
don't really care about this kind of things.
It makes it a lot easier
And
to.
she kind of gets under your own bridge,
Yeah.
so
That's another
keep
thing.
having one card in your hand is pretty sweet with Elspeth.
Yeah, that's actually a great trick with this deck, with Elspeth and with the Sword of the Meek Thopter Founder combo. If you have a Siren Bridge out and you have 0 cards in hand, you can just draw the card, go to attack step, attack with all your 1/1s, and then play the card out. And so
Exactly.
you keep your opponent completely locked underneath it. You're still able to attack basically for free.
Sounds good. Next up, we've got Academy Ruins. Tell me a little bit about Academy Ruins. Was it a pretty much auto include as soon as you built the deck, or
Yeah, it's just automatically in the deck. You can't like. There's no reason not to play this card. Being able to rebuy any of your artifacts is hugely important. Especially engineering explosives is the best when you're able to just like completely recur your engineering explosives. You can just control the board at that point.
uh, we're gonna look at Engineering Explosives real quick. It's a really strong card. Can kind of deal with just about anything that's in
Yeah,
the format. You're actually splashing a
I,
single black source.
I,
Is
d-
it? I
I
mean, I
do
know it's
have.
for some stuff that you got in the sideboard, but
Yeah, it's for. I have one black card in the sideboard that is for in case it gets stuck in my hand, but also it lets me put down EE for 3,
exactly.
so I can hit any problematic permanent for 3 mana.
Especially Liliana.
Yes.
I can see Liliana being a little bit problems cumbersome to beat early on if she
Uh,
can get the ultimate, unless you have the
I
EE.
mean, if she gets to ultimate, but if you wanted me to put Sword of the Meek in the graveyard, I'm not going to complain.
Exactly. Uh, we're gonna go ahead and touch into the sideboard here. We talked a little bit about it already. Your gifts and given
hmm
package seems to be kind of a staple of this style of deck, even just for just blue white control. Period. Bringing in gifts with several different creatures and maybe some more removal. Tell me a little bit more about gifts. How do you use it primarily?
Primarily, it's going to come in uh, anytime that one of my like win cons is not very effective. Normally, if they like bring in like Artifact Hate or like the sword combos is not good against the deck, or I'm anticipating them to bring in a lot of hate cards, I can go to the Gifts and Given package.
Okay.
But there's also Elish Norn is the big card I want to be able to bring in for any creature-based decks if I want to like knockout affinity, knockout.
Right.
In fact, any of the quick creature decks, they kind of fold to this. So being able to bring her in, bring in the gifts, and bring that down on like turn 4.
Right. There's
If
a lot of decks that just can't beat her at all.
yeah,
I mean, she just comes in, lands, and you even have the ability to hardcast her in your deck.
I can. Yes,
It's
I've
not
actually
really what you want to be doing,
no.
but sometimes you have to. I mean,
Yeah, I'd rather pay 4 for her than 7.
I totally understand. Uh, you also have an Iona. Uh,
Yeah, the Iono comes in whenever I need the gifts and given package, but Elishnor's not that good if I'm going against like some type of like spell-based combo deck. When you turn off a color, turn off blue,
right.
like turn off like
Kind of the
green out of scape
exactly.
shift, turn off like even against Jund I can turn off black and that turns off like almost all of the removal spells.
Right.
Like there's a lot of decks that I can bring this in for that I can just turn off a primary color for them that and they just have a hard time with that like hand tied behind their back to deal with any of my stuff.
Right. So we talked about it already. The one black card in your entire deck. Kind of I guess, the linchpin of the gifts I'm given package. It'd
Yeah,
be
I guess we
the
can talk about the
Unburials.
package right now. Gifts and given, you get up to 4 cards. Your opponent picks 2 of them. They go to the graveyard, and you get the other 2.
Right.
Now, you don't have to get 4 cards with this. You can get 2 cards, and they have to pick those 2 cards, and they go to the graveyard automatically.
Right.
So you just pick Unburial Rights and the creature you want to reanimate. They go to the graveyard, and then you untap, and then flashback Unburial Rights. You've got your creature.
Exactly. Barrett's super strong card, always
Hmm.
has been. Doesn't see any play in obviously Legacy. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a little bit better reanimation spells
Yeah.
as you know. Uh, is there any deck that you think that you just don't want to see tomorrow?
Um, I feel like Scapeshift might actually be one of the decks I don't want to deal with.
Okay,
They have a lot of counter magic, and I can't really interact too well with their
right. So
combo.
they're just kind of just their own business, and you're not
Hmm.
really doing anything. Well, they're not really touching each other at all.
Yeah, yeah. Which is one of the reasons why I wanted the Iona in there to be
Right.
able to like turn off their green, so I can turn off their Scapeshift. Um, I don't want to see that. Some of the early aggro decks
Okay.
were problematic in the
More like
beginning.
the Naya burn deck with the creature
Naya,
conversion.
yeah, Naya burn deck can be a problem, but it's gotten a lot better with the like. I've kind of skewed the deck a little bit more to deal with like the early creature-based decks,
Okay.
and with the inclusion of like the three timelies and the Sunlance of the sideboard,
Right. The Sunlance is a
like
pretty spicy card.
it's yeah, it's a lot better of a matchup than it used to be. So
All right. What about decks that you want to see all day? If this was the one deck you could just play against all day, what deck would that be?
hmm, probably Jund.
Jund?
Yeah.
A lot of people hating on Jund. They think they just have a great matchup against it. What makes you feel that you have such a good matchup against Jund?
Well, they want to grind the game out and go long. They just want to just grind you into the
Right. And
dirt
they
with
want to
two for
one for
ones,
one you or
and I can outgrind any deck.
exactly.
Like if you're not coming over the top, then I'm just gonna grind you out.
Exactly.
Like that's what the Sword of the Meek Thopter Founder combo is the biggest grind.
Is there any card that you would say in Jund that maybe scares you that you feel like you have to get rid of as soon as it hits the board?
The only thing that I'm really worried about them is Guarantee News,
Okay.
but normally they don't have that many mainboard if at all.
Right.
It'll usually be a sideboard card, maybe have a couple in the main board, just depends on what the format looks like.
Exactly.
But that's one of the reasons why I need to Journey Nowhere. Detention 3 or the 4 Path to Exiles. The big reason why I wanted to go white, because I
Right.
get a lot of removal spells to deal with stuff like that.
Right. Instead of just the discard package that the blue black version normally plays. We're gonna take a quick look at Journey to Nowhere. Maybe
Okay.
some of the people who don't really
Yeah.
know what it is, maybe they're just used to standard. Journey to
Hmm.
Nowhere, huge all-star when it was in standard. Sees occasional play here in modern, here and there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now, the big thing is with this card is instead of giving Oblivion Ring, which is objectively a stronger card,
right.
I can transmute the Muddle to Mixture to go get this Journey to Nowhere.
Right.
Which,
Exactly.
so
I think
that is huge.
that feels like it's probably one of the better interactions of the deck.
Hmm.
I mean, your deck's so full of two drops. Chalice of the Void really doesn't see much play anymore, so
No,
seeing a Chalice on two, it's not really going to happen much anymore.
no. Like
Uh,
the format's not good. Like the format is not skewed to one mana cost enough for Chalice of the Void.
right. So you're
So I
not
don't.
seeing Chalices, you're not seeing all these other things that you typically see in a
Yeah.
Tezzerator type control deck.
And also out of the sideboard, I can also muddle for Torpor Orb and Aethersworn Canonist.
Right.
Those are two of the two drops that I've just recently added.
Right. Is that more to combat just the company decks or
Trying to fight the unfair decks that I can't really deal with. Keycord, Company for Torpor Orb, like that's really
okay?
important.
Uh,
Like,
what about the Grizzle Skull brand? How do you feel your matchup is against that deck? Or are you just kind of like, well, if it happens, it happens.
I mean, if it happens, I haven't really thought about that deck too much. Like, it's not a extremely
It's not a
popular
big,
deck.
right,
I don't really plan on like running into it.
right,
Um, I don't know. Path Exile could be big in that deck. Muddle can be useful to actually counter the one spell they have,
right.
but we'll see if I run into it. But
We'll
I'm not
see.
really planning on running into it.
All right.
Hopefully I can dodge it.
Well, I'd like to thank Sean Carroll again for joining us here at Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming for his deck tech on Blue White Thopter Control. Again, my name is Ryan Wolf. Thank you.